Hey guys, we're going to go over what you need to do to get a good reference photo for your pop art. And I'm going to show you this all online because it's easier with this video, where you can kind of like stop and repeat. So you're going to just go into your MacBook, you're going to open up a Word document. That's this icon down here. Once you have that opened, you're going to go to Firefox or Safari and it'll open up images you can search. Now, most people do portraits for this, but you can do something else like an object, or you can do an animal. But the thing is that your image that you use has to have contrast. You have to be able to identify contrast to do this correctly. An example of what contrast is would be this one. You can see the eyes, the nose, the mouth, they all have lights and darks. The hair edge has a nice dark shadow. So the chin has a shadow. So like everything here has contrast. You can see the features of the face. You can also see that they'll translate well if you make this image desaturated without color. This image I love, but try and imagine this as a black and white image, and you'll see it's just going to be a range of grays. So this one wouldn't really work for this project. I didn't Google any objects to play around with, but again, you'll have to kind of use your knowledge of contrast and value and play around with this. You might also try a few photos that don't work. So for instance, this cat, which I've used for other things, I do love it. If I want to copy this onto my Word document and see if it works, as I'm not sure, I hold down Control on my keyboard. I press that key down and I hold it. I take my mouse and I click on the image, and then I get this little window box. Come down here to copy image. I click back to my Word document, and then I hit Command and V, and then I'll just paste the photo down. So I know this won't work, but just to show you what you're going to do, you're going to, when you click on this photo, this picture format pops up. If I click off of it, it goes away. If I click on the photo, it pops up. And what I'm going to do for this is click picture format, and I get all these options. I'm going to choose the drop down for the sun for corrections. I'm going to come all the way down to picture correction options. Let's pull mine over so you can see it. So what I'm going to do here is first, almost any image you get, you're going to crop, because that way you know you're not getting a lot of annoying, dead, negative space. You don't want all this negative space in your images. It's just too much. So I'm going to crop my image. I'm going to bring this down, crop it like this, and then I'm going to select this image by clicking on it. Once it's clicked, I'm going to hit Command, the letter C. I'm going to click my mouse next to it, hit return, and then hit Command V. So I should have the same image, same size. That's important. You crop it, you copy it, and then on one of them, doesn't matter which one, you do your corrections. So you should have this kind of popped out. Again, you go to picture format. If you don't see it, the sun, drop down, picture correction options, and you're just in this little menu of options. You're going to desaturate this, which means you take all the color away. And see, now that I've taken all this color away, it's just ranges of gray. There is some dark, there is some light, but there's not enough between the background and the object, and between the eyes and within the features. So when I make this high contrast, I'm going to lose too much stuff. Like, this isn't an image I can use. So for that reason, I can't do this one. I'm going to delete it. But this is what you might have to do a few times, is do your quick little edits, bring your saturation all the way down, bring your contrast all the way up. It has to be at 100 for this to work. And then if it doesn't work, you're not going to call me over and say, oh, I like this image, but it doesn't work. You're just going to have to move on and pick a different one. I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to go to one that I know works. Let's go back to Marilyn. So again, to get this image, I'm going to hold down Control, click on my image, hit Copy Image, come back to my Word document. Command V will paste it. If I select it, I get picture format, and if I click on picture format, I can go to my crop. And I'm going to focus really just on her face. I'm going to make it a portrait, so I don't want all this wasted body space. And then what I also want you guys to do is, after it's cropped, select it, take a corner where you get the double arrow, and make it bigger. You don't have to hold down Shift like you do in Adobe. You can just drag it in and out. But make this like a good size, like kind of as large as you can on the paper. Don't make anything super tiny. So this one can be as large as 7 by 7. If you don't get the inches, don't worry about it. You don't need them. As long as it takes up most of the paper, like, that's fine. I'm going to come back over here to picture format. If I click on this little option, I get all my drop downs. You have to have it desaturated, totally black and white, if you have your contrast at 100%. And once you have that, if you lose some stuff, oh, oops, sorry, I forgot a really important step. I'm going to do Command Z. Now that's been cropped, I'm going to take this one, Command C, copy it, click next to it with my mouse. Now again, I have two that's the same size. It doesn't have to be color. As long as it's like not high contrast, it's black and white, that's fine. But I have to have two the same size, that's important. And this one has the full image, and then this one will have my adjustments. So it's been desaturated. Contrast has to be at 100%. And here I can start playing around with the sharpness and the brightness. And then I can make it more bright, which I get less information. I can get more information. Sharpness, if I think it's not detailed enough, I can get like really high intensity. If I think it's too much, I can bring it down. Like this is way too soft, too much information is lost. So you're gonna have to try and find an area that you feel like gives you a lot of information and details. You wanna have details present. But importantly, details you can do with Sharpie. You're gonna put this below some acetate and trace it with Sharpie. So if you, like these are pretty easy to kind of get, these little squiggle marks. Unless you have a lot of patience and you're good at working fast, you don't want to do this full sharpness because you're going to have all these little dots you're going to have to make with Sharpie. If you don't think you can make them with Sharpie, then you don't want to pick this one. But you're going to have a level that feels like it has information so you can recognize what the object is. I can recognize this as a person. I can also recognize who she is. And if I lose information where, like, say I lose part of her edge of her hair, or I lose like her neck or her shirt, that's fine. I can lose some of that because that's why I have my backup photo. You'll see later, these are the same size and why that's important, how I can see the edges of all my original information. So as long as I have main features, like eyes, nose, mouth, and then if it's like an animal, same thing, eyes, nose, mouth, or whatever, and then if it's an object, as long as you can identify it. But I don't have to worry about all these edges being lost because I have this image. And once I have both these things, I'm just gonna go to File, I'm gonna go to Print. I'm gonna go to the Art Lab printer, I'm just gonna print the one copy, it'll print both pages, I would just hit print for this. And then I would also save this in case I lose something. As long as you save it, and you should have a folder or on the desktop of this. If you don't have a desktop folder, let's like real quick go into that. Oops. If you need a desktop folder, then you click on your desktop. Actually, I don't think you can see it on mine, but up at the very top is on the gray menu is an Apple, a Finder, and a File. You would click on the File, click New Folder, and you'll get a new folder, and just write your name there. And then you're going to keep everything there if you haven't done that already. And that's it for getting your photo ready.